A parabola is a U-shaped graph. And there are two different U-shaped graphs that you could have. One, you could have one that looks like this bridge here. And this, if you have a smiley face, it has a minimum point. Okay. If it looks like the St. Louis Arch, it will look like a frowny face. It has a maximum point. So min versus max. That should make sense. And this point, that is either the minimum or the maximum point, is called a vertex. And that's what we're going to look at for the next few days. Okay. So now just take a minute, look at these two problems, and tell me whether or not it has a max or a min. Okay. So you should say that A has a max, while B has a minimum value. Okay. And we're going to talk about this dotted line that goes through the center of our graphs later on. But you should see that they're symmetrical to each other. So now we're going to talk about what the axis of symmetry is. Axis of symmetry is just when you take your U-shaped graph, fold it in half, and it's the same on either side. It's a mirror image. So we're going to take this particular example that they give us. We're going to use that to find that vertex, this minimum point. So you have x squared minus 2x minus 3. So we need to figure out what the values of a, b, and c are. So a in this case is just going to be 1 because there's no number in front of x squared. B is negative 2, and then c is negative 3. So what you then do is you take two of those values, your a and your b, and you're going to plug it into the formula that I gave you in part 2. So it always says it's negative b over 2a. So you're going to take the opposite of negative 2 and then multiply 2 times 1 on the bottom of your fraction. So you end up getting a positive 2 over 2, which is just 1. So our axis of symmetry is positive 1 in this case. So what you're going to do is then plug in 1 into your original problem and figure out why. Let me just make this a little smaller for myself. So I'm going to take 1, I'm going to square it, subtract it by 2 times 1, minus 3. So all I did is plug in that 1 that we just found in for x. So then I do 1 squared, 1, 2 times 1 is 2, and minus 3. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1, and then you've got negative 4. So that means our ordered pair is 1, negative 4. And if you look at the graph up here, we have 1, negative 4 is where our minimum point lies. So let's try this on two other problems. So again, you're going to figure out what your A, your B, and your C is for each one. In choice A, you're going to have 1, 5, and 6. From there, you're going to plug in the values of A and B into that formula. That's seen at the top. So you're going to have negative 5 over 2 times 1. And then you're going to have negative 5 over 2. So that is going to be our x value. So I want you to go through and solve for y as well as b, and we'll talk about this next time we see each other.